Okay, so now we've gone over Paul for a little bit. I want to get away from that and discuss with you some of my sources, because I think citing sources is probably the best thing I can do for you. Like I said, I don't think you should trust anything I say blindly. Don't take anything I say at face value. Look up the sources for yourself. Read them for yourself. So I got a bunch of sources for you, not just on Paul, but on Jesus and mythicism in general. And I think you're going to really enjoy these books. For those of you, some of you might be aware of these books, maybe even some of the authors, but you might not know much about them. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of reference here. Robert M. Price, a friend and colleague of mine, has written many books on mythicism. If you don't know about Robert Price, he used to be a fundamentalist Christian, and he's kind of gone through this sort of change process. He used to be a textual critic, and then very slowly over the years he became a mythicist. Although he holds positions that I don't always agree with. For example, he's a fan of Bauer, more particular Thomas Whitaker and Van Manen, who are basically Dutch radicals. I don't agree with the Dutch radical position that everything in the New Testament should be dated to the 2nd century. However, Robert M. Price makes a very good case for mythicism. He's very well versed in Scripture, very well versed in the arguments for mythicism. So I'm going to present them for you right now. This is Robert M. Price's most recent book. It's called Jesus is Dead. It's probably one of the best books that he's done so far on mythicism. I highly recommend it. It's $18 on Amazon.com. Please do yourself a favor, pick it up. It's a great book. Okay, it's Jesus is Dead. All right. Another book that he's actually co-edited with Jeffrey J. Lauder. It's called The Empty Tomb. All right, pick this book up as well. It's an excellent book. It's very well written. It has several contributors, including Richard Carrier, who's another friend and colleague of mine. I highly suggest it. There's a lot of good stuff in here about Paul and what Paul viewed as the resurrection. Also, Robert Price makes a very good case for the Romans passage in 1 Corinthians 15 and several other things being a little bit of interpolation. But that can be discussed in this book. Don't hear it from me. Okay, other books I read on Price. Of course, there are some others. I'll name these right here. We have The Incredible Shrinking Son of Man, which is up here. Okay, the Da Vinci Fraud, which is a book on the Da Vinci Code, exposing it for the fallacious book that it is, and also Deconstructing Jesus. All three of these books are excellent books. I highly suggest them. I'm not done yet. Now, Arthur Drews was an early mythicist. Okay, you might not know of him. Okay, but he was early 20th century historian. Wrote several books on mythicism, including The Christ Myth. All right. There's also Arthur Drews and the Legend of St. Peter, right, which talks about how St. Peter is a resemblance of that of Mithraic traditions, and he wasn't a real person. And also The Witnesses of the Historicity of Jesus, which discusses the supposed accounts of Jesus' life in Roman and Judaic authors, and exposes them for what they are, which is nothing really to be worried about. Now, there's those three books. Now, on the New Testament and its the Gospels in particular, and exactly what they are, what type of genre they are. On the mythical genre of the Gospels, the legendary genre, you want to talk to Dennis R. McDonald. Okay, he's the author of several books, all of them which I own most of them. All right, he's also a member of the JBL, and he has several articles in the JBL. Check out these 4 books right here. Okay, I think they're some of his best works. I know you probably can't see them, so I'll read them off to you. The Legend and the Apostle Paul. All right, The Battle for Paul and the Story of the Canon. All right, this is one of the works that he's done. All right. Now these 3 right here. There's Christianizing Homer. All right, which is one of his first books that he did. All right, which deals with the Acts of Andrew and how early Christians utilized the Homeric epics. Not just that, but he also has the Homeric epics in the Gospel of Mark, which is the bottom book right here, which discusses how Mark is a hypotext of the Homeric epics and also of the Old Testament. And now, finally, we have the New Testament. Does the New Testament imitate Homer? And then it uses a case study of 4 examples from Acts. Another good book, very good book. So Dennis R. McDonald, check him out. All right. Also, I got a few odds and ends books here. In Quest of the Hero, check it out, Alan Dundas. All right, very, very good book. I highly suggest it. Alan Dundas was formerly a a folklorist. Unfortunately, he died last year, but it's a very, very good book. I highly suggest it. Exposes the legend of Christianity for what it is, a legend. This one right here is by Frank Zindler. Okay, it's called The Jesus the Jews Never Knew. Sefer Toldeth Yeshu and the Quest for the Historical Jesus in Jewish Sources. An excellent book. Now, there are some things that he says that I disagree on. I do believe Nazareth was a historical location. He does not. He's a follower of Rene Salm. I don't buy it. But the book in general is good. I highly recommend it. Excellent book. Now, these two you might be aware of from Earl Dougherty. Okay, The Jesus Puzzle and Challenging the Verdict. Now, the Jesus Puzzle is undergoing a second edition that he's working on right now. I don't know when it'll be out, but I suggest that you wait until the second edition comes out. Pick up the second edition instead. It'll be revised and better for everybody. Okay, Jesus in History and Myth. Alright, this is co-edited, but R. Joseph Hoffman is a mythicist. In fact, the preface of this book talks about the mythicist position. So there you go. Also, this book right here is probably one of my favorites. It's by a Christian, Charles H. Talbert. Okay, it's called What is a Gospel? Alright, this lays out the case for the genre of the New Testament, mainly the Gospels, being legendary embellishments of the Old Testament and other works. Okay, this is a Christian writing this now, and probably it's all new scholarship. It's very accurate, very well researched. Please pick it up. That being said, this is Rook Hawkins coming to you from Rook's Nook, Rational Response Squad compound. Check us out, rationalresponders.com. Check me out, rookhawkins.com. Also MySpace/Rook Hawkins. And for those of you who are interested, please check me out on the Rational Response Squad forums. And stay rational.